You are just in time for us to start having a look at the major update Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition had last week and discussing what they did with the update and how it broke the game, and also the hotfix. We're going to look at the hotfix they brought out 2 days later to fix the update. Alright, so let's just run quickly through the start of it. Welcome friends to January 2020 and the first major update of the new year. Once again, the team has been working hard to put together a list of bug fixes, changes and new features to continue moving Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition along the path to world domination. This month introduces a significant number of stability and performance improvements, a planet's worth of map and map generation changes, as well as AI and pathfinding improvements to help your armies as they traverse the world, because English. For those of you watching this on YouTube, I will link the actual update page down in the description of a YouTube video that this is going up in, just so that you can follow it on your own, and because I'm going to skip a few of the sections and I'm going to skim over some of them only. Alright, let's start the bold spotlight. Here are some of the big highlights of today's update. Most of the changes started as discussions within the community over the past month. So a few of the improvements is AI and pathfinding improvements, numerous game stability improvements and crash fixes, balance changes, and various improvements to random maps. Alright, so first up we have the 2020 Lunar New Year event. It's ending in a week's time, so I'm not really going to focus on this that much. There's a few challenges that unlocks different mods that you can use. All of it has to be completed by the 4th of February, and if I'm not mistaken, these profile icons are only usable up until the 4th of February. So I'm not gonna concentrate on this at all. Firstly, that we're gonna focus on is the game stability. Game stability continues to be a focus as we work to fix the crashes and address performance issues reported by players. Here are fixes coming with today's update, today being last week and Tuesday. Yes, it was the 21st, it was last week Tuesday, yes. Fixed an issue that would cause the game to crash on startup. Fixed a crash that would affect players in spectator mode, yes. Fixed a rare crash when skipping through the Art of War videos. Implemented various other crash fixes. Performance improvements. We will continue to make adjustments to the game to ensure it runs smoothly on a variety of different machines. Today we're taking a shot at how the game uses RAM. Implemented improvements to RAM usage for configuration with dedicated VRAM. For configurations with less than 4 GB of dedicated VRAM, we are continuing to work on performance improvements. And then gameplay updates. Livestock can now be garrisoned and transported in transport ships. Animals that can be ordered will no longer run faster than intended when tasked with waypoints. This is specifically for the horse on step that you turned into a turbo horse when you gave it waypoints. Increase the base speed of controllable animals, so now the horse will run faster by default, but it will no longer go into turbo mode when you task it with waypoints, which is good because that was broken. Double-clicking units no longer temporarily selects garrisoned units. Fixed an issue where villagers would sometimes not return to their work after being garrisoned inside a castle, or garrisoned inside anything else, or they would just stop working in general. They should mention that. And some of that is still an issue, but yeah, that will hopefully be in the next patch. Fixed a rare issue where petards would fail to deal damage to gates. Yes, that was if you attack the gate from the edge and not straight on, then the petard wouldn't do any damage, so apparently they fixed that now. Fishing ships will now put more effort into seeking out new fishing spots if their original gathering point is depleted. And I thank you. That was also something that was a big issue for many players. The guard hotkey for the bombard cannon and mangonel now works as intended. Trade units will now prioritize the market that is furthest away for trading. This, I think, will be a good change in general, but it might also lead to some unintended issues in the long run. Fixed an issue where monks would occasionally heal units beyond the intended range. Building preview now displays the correct graphic when the cursor is moved beyond the map's edge. Thank you. Multiple town centers can now be queued up for construction by holding the shift key during placement mode. This is mostly helpful for deathmatch. Not for normal random maps so much, but for deathmatch this is more useful. Fixed an issue of waypoints would sometimes display incorrect positions. Anarchy technology now utilizes the correct hotkey. Remove the combat abilities from markets, monasteries, archery ranges, and stables. These were previously only available by using gather points. I did not know that was an issue. Is that like the houses attacking? Is that a bug like that? Anyone that knows, if you guys are in chat, let me know, or those that are watching this on YouTube, let me know down in the comments what exactly the issue was with this one, because that's quite interesting actually. Cancelling the spies upgrade will now return the full cost rather than only returning 200 gold. I feel so sorry for a person that found that bug out. Researching spies for like 10,000 gold and then cancelling it right before it's researched, only to get 200 gold back. Cancelling units in production queue will now return the actual amount of resources initially spent on the unit. Players no longer receive additional score points for killing dismounted conics. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, you are killing another unit, so you should still receive score for that. And then, big changes to the civilization balance. Okay, not big changes, just a few small changes. Today's civilization changes are a bit smaller than last month's massive update. That video I am delaying by so much, it will be released next week on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, that video will be released in a week's time, where I discuss the December massive update. As always, your feedback continues to play a big part in how the balance is shifted among all the civilizations available in the game. Once you've had a chance to play with the changes, be sure to visit the forums to post your thoughts. The Mayans and Chinese will no longer be granted their bonus starting villages until a town center has been constructed. This is specifically for Nomad or Nomad style maps, where basically if you had the Chinese, it was almost a certain civ win because you started so far ahead compared to your opponent, and now it's no longer, you still are ahead, you still do start with the additional villages, but they only spawn under your town center once your town center is built. Battle Elephant for the civilizations that do have the Battle Elephant. Reduce the training time from 28 to 24 seconds. Burmese changes. The Arumbai Standard and Elite reduce the wood cost from 80 wood 65 gold to 75 wood and 60 gold. So it's a 5 wood and 5 gold price reduction. That is basically to counterbalance the massive nerf to the Arumbai that happened even before Definitive Edition, way back on HD, where they what was the African Kingdoms, Rise of the Rajas, where the Arumbai were nerfed beyond recognition. So that at least might make up a little bit for that. Chinese can now research block printing technology. I don't know if I like this. The Chinese are already as strong. They're already one of the top civilizations. And giving them the one technology that would basically but counter their counters, that'll make them even more overpowered. So we'll see, this might be nerfed again in the next patch. I predict that it would be, but we'll see in the next patch if it will get nerfed again. Khmer farmers no longer require mills or town centers to drop off food. I've seen this in action for the last week. This is massively overpowered. You can basically build a farm anywhere and your farmers will continue farming and continuously drop off food while they are farming. Persians increased the cost of archer units after researching the Commanderan technology from 50 to 60 wood. I didn't even know there was only 50 wood. I thought it was more like 70 wood, which is the combined wood and gold cost of the archers. I thought that would be the total cost, but it was only 50 wood, but now it's been increased to 60. It's still a massive bonus, and they will still be overpowered, but now they are just a little more expensive. Slavs. Ranged infantry units are no longer affected by the Druzhina technology. Slavs don't have ranged infantry, but this would be basically for if you convert units like the Gepeto or throwing axemen or the such that have ranged attack for infantry units. They will no longer be affected by the Druzhina technology. Campaigns. I am not going through all of the campaign updates. Just a few of the highlights is loading a saved campaign mission no longer causes certain objects to display the wrong names, and added the relevant dates and civilizations to each campaign tooltip. The rest you can, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go and read it down in the link in the description. You can go and read through it all yourself. In the random maps, we also have a few updates as well. While the civilizations tell the story of the game, the battlefields are the canvas upon which every story is written. Today's update introduces a vast array of changes to the way the maps are generated, how resources are placed and balanced for players, and even adds some scripting additions for our modding community to enjoy. The list is long, so give it a read before you make your mark on the next battlefield. I'm not going to read through every single point in this. You guys can go and read it afterwards yourself if you would like. Or you can just pause it here and read through some of it yourself if you want to. Gold and stone deposits as well as relics will more effectively avoid cliffs during map generation. This is good, especially I've had a few Team Islands maps, ranked games, where especially my gold and stone are up against cliffs, and it kind of interferes with your gathering, and you're not able to saturate the mine the way you would normally be able to. Relics will now avoid forests more effectively during map generation, so you won't get relics that are boxed in or hidden in trapped in a little piece of forest. Implemented additional logic to prevent scouts from spawning in forests. This has happened to me twice, so I'm glad that they eventually fixed it. Starting sheep will now spawn 7 to 8 tiles from the town center, and initially it was 8 to 9 tiles. This is also good, where even if you don't start with your sheep under your control, you 9 out of 10 times will have them within sight, and you will be able to see exactly where they are. So that will make for more consistent starts across the board. Team members' walls that are adjacent to each other will now form a team wall instead of overlapping. Change the way gates are generated on walled maps to reduce the chance of them being blocked. Yeah, that happened to me a few times on Arena as well, where my gates are at the back of my base or they are just leading into trees. So I couldn't use the gates and I had to actually break through my walls. Restore the relic count to 5 on the following tiny, small and medium maps. Relics are also more fairly distributed in a 1v1 setting. Most notably here are Black Forest, Fortress and Islands, and Team Islands, which had I think only 4 relics sometimes spawning on those. Fixed a bug where trees in some forest types could be deleted by using building foundations. They must now be chopped down before building a structure. This is broken. Usually it should only be able, you shouldn't be able to do that to straggler trees, but there was a bug where you could do that with normal forest trees as well, and that was a little broken. Dragon forests now appear on more African themed maps, which is better than the acacia forest, because the acacia forest always had holes between the trees, and yeah, that caused for a lot of trouble. Map settings. King of the Hill Monument now generates resources for the controlling player. This is great for community games or people that like playing King of the Hill style games. All gold, stone, relics, straggler trees, boar, sheep and fish have been removed from games set to infinite resources. Yeah, it makes sense because you don't really need those when you have infinite resources. Map generation and layout. The secondary gold and stone deposits are now more consistent and more closely resemble their original values on the following maps. And that is most maps. That is a great change. Acacia forests have been replaced by palm or dragon forests on the following maps. Thank you. Like I just said, the acacia forests have major gaps between the trees. It's almost impossible to wall around them, and they cause a lot of issues, so that's a good change as well. Added a Mediterranean season to the following maps. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what that is. We'll have to see that in game. Maps. Okay, I'm not going to focus on all of the maps, just nitpick a few of them. Only mega random. We have mangrove forests will now only appear on shallows. Extra gold and stone deposits have been adjusted to spawn in more balanced locations for players. So mega random, even though it's mega random, will be a little more balanced at least. Gold and stone deposits as well as relics now spawn further away from forests. Straggler trees will no longer be generated when playing a deathmatch or infinite resources. Team Islands fixed a rare issue where gold and stone nodes would fail to generate at the start of the map. Removed cliffs from the map. Thank you, because cliffs on Team Islands were just got in the way. Reduce the distance between islands from 22 to 20. Okay, this is an interesting change. This is going to make Team Islands a lot more aggressive. You're going to have to play a lot more aggressive on Team Islands. And I think that is good. Random map scripting. Okay, this is for those of you who are into map scripting. I'm going to pause this here. I'm going to pause this here on the video on YouTube. You guys can read through this, or you can check the link in the description to go and read through this yourself. So it's all of that. I'm not going to go through that because I don't script. So yeah, you guys can read through that yourself. Lobbies and matchmaking. Fix an issue where custom map pools would always reset to coastal after starting a new game session. Added a password filter to the lobby browser. That's good. Regicide game mode will no longer remove the victory condition drop down in multiplayer lobbies. That's good. Starting resources setting now works properly when playing Regicide. I didn't notice it wasn't working properly. Fixed an issue where the check marks on the loading screen would on occasion not update properly. Graphics fixed a rare issue where unit outlines would fail to display behind construction graphics, walls and gates. Added smoke visual effects to the gate destruction animations. Okay, that doesn't really matter. Implemented various bug fixes.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Let's just fix that. Implemented various bugs and updates to art assets. Okay. They implemented a lot of bugs with this update. We'll get to that in the hotfix. Fix the muzzle and sound delay of organ guns, bombard cannons and hand cannoneers. That is good. The sound of organ guns, bombard cannons or hand cannoneers firing did not match up with the actual firing animation or when they were actually firing. Fix the sound delay of hand cannoneers and janissaries. Okay, that's exactly what that says anyway. Fire arrows shot from towers will now use the new tower-specific arrow sound as intended, and fire arrows no longer play the whoosh sound effect twice. AI, I'm not going to look too much into the AI. For those of you who do play against the AI, feel free to go and read through this. There's been quite a few good changes and quite a few significant changes to the AI. Go and read through it on your own time. I'm not going to focus on that right now. Let's go down to pathfinding. This is also very important. Improve the behavior of military units when they are surrounding and attacking buildings. That is good, because otherwise they're just standing around and not attacking. That happened a lot before. Groups of units will now correctly make use of command queues. Fix an issue where military units would on occasion visually stutter while moving. On occasion meaning most of the time. But yeah, fix an issue where gates would on occasion briefly block units during their destruction animation. Yes, that also happened quite a lot. Fixed an issue where units could slide through obstructions if they were too close to fire while in the stand ground stance. They didn't fix this issue, they made this issue worse. But we'll get to that in the hotfix. Fixed an issue where units on stand ground would stutter after ungarrisoning from a siege tower. Fixed an issue where rams would randomly lose interest when attacking a gate, yes. Improved ram pathfinding when moving to and attacking gates and towers, area or any other buildings. Fixed an issue where villagers would sometimes ignore commands while under attack. Fixed an issue where villagers would occasionally go idle under certain circumstances. This is still an issue. I tested it earlier, this is still an issue as well. This also improves villager gathering behavior in crowded situations. Not really that much. We'll see if they do it, fix it again in the next patch. For those who like scripting, there are some scripting changes as well. You guys can read through this. Like I said before, with the random maps as well, I don't do scripting, so that's not for me to comment on, but you guys can go and read through that. The best serve information on the player profile now shows the best civilization for both single player and multiplayer games. Legacy HP colors are now correctly displayed in the UI. A villager's build queue no longer resets when a villager within the group of selected units is killed. Fixed a rare issue where the unit command panel would not display properly. Yes, I had that a few times. Fixed an issue where spectator command panel would not display properly when selecting multiple units. Players who have resigned out of a match are now displayed correctly in the spectator UI. I prefer players who have not resigned out of a match to not show as being resigned out of a match. Fixed an issue where hotkeys would continue to work in-game while the delete confirmation window was in focus. Fixed a rare issue where multiple UI screens would overlap each other. Usually when that happened to me, I knew for a fact that a few minutes after that my game would crash. In the tech tree, they fixed a rare issue where researched unit or technology nodes did not appear correctly, and they fixed a rare issue where some nodes did not include their required technologies. For the modding community, those of you who are into mods, into creating mods, there's a few updates to the modding as well. You guys can go and read through that yourself. And also in the scenario editor, I'm just going to scan through the scenario editor. Loading legacy scenarios in the editor will now unlock all new content to be placeable in that scenario. Placeholder terrain is no longer visible under Fog of War in some legacy scenarios, and the object visible trigger condition now works correctly, which it didn't before. So that is the update that they released on Tuesday the 21st of January. It broke the game. As in completely broke the game. There are quite a few videos on YouTube already with people exploiting little bugs that this created, and let's go and look at the hotfix that you can close that one. The hotfix that was released 2 days later, that was an extremely long 2 days. From all the streams and videos that I watched, this was an extremely long 2 days. Let's have a look at the hotfix and see what they fixed, what issues came up and what they fixed. Today's hotfix addresses 3 major issues that arose with Tuesday's update, including a problem with walls, town centers, and AI unit movements. As always, please be sure to visit the discussion channels to let us know if they are fixed or if you continue to experience issues playing the game. Fixed a bug that allowed units to ignore the singular purpose of walls. I love how they phrase this. Fixed a bug that allowed units to ignore the singular purpose of walls. It sounds so as if it's not that big of an issue, but the singular purpose of walls is to keep units out. This bug allowed you to just transport yourself through walls, as in just appear on the other side. And that was completely broken. Fortunately, like I said, I wasn't playing for a week, so I missed that. Fixed the bug where villagers could partially pass through buildings. Not partially, they could completely pass through buildings. Even when there is no way through, there's no hole in the wall, no gap or anything, they could pass through buildings. Fixed the bug which resulted in certain units dealing massive damage to town centers. A single mangonel could take down a town center in 3 or 4 hits. That's what it came down to, which is absolutely insane. Fixed a bug which prevented the stop hotkey from working properly. Fixed a bug which motivated the AI to defend the westernmost corner of the map rather than participating in the match. Ongoing investigations as well. We are continuing to track and work towards fixes for several issues reported by the community. Here are some of the priority reports which are currently in the process of being investigated. In some circumstances, units may pass through buildings and gates. We are working on additional fixes to address the problem. Unit kills and deaths are not displayed correctly following a match. Animals killed by military units allow the animals to be gathered for food. This is not intended. This is broken because one of the strats on maps like Steppe, for example, is to send a few, militia out to go and kill your opponent or kill the deer on the map if you don't intend to take them yourself, so that your opponent can't make use of that food, and this should not be a thing. If we were able to identify a solution, we may try and push a second hotfix within the next week. I don't think they have yet, as far as I know. Let's go and have a look. The updates, this is the hotfix 34793, and let's go and look at the updates. No, that is the last update, so no, they haven't pushed any further updates yet. But yeah, that is it for this. Those of you watching this on YouTube, make sure to come by next week as well, where I will be discussing the December major update. That's a little more of an edited video, scripted video, and that will be coming up on hopefully next week Tuesday. I will be done with that eventually. I've been working on that video for a while. We'll be done with that hopefully next week Tuesday, and you guys can come and watch that as well. But links for these updates, the hotfix and the updates, those links will be down in the description of this YouTube video for you guys to go and read up on this update yourself if you'd like to. Thank you for watching the video. Remember to subscribe by clicking on my face to the left. To watch what I'd like you to watch, click the top video on the right. If you'd prefer to see what YouTube thinks you should watch, then click the bottom video. So until next time, happy gaming!